What's happening, Shredder Nation? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to episode number 54 of Shred Your Body. I'm your host, Jesse James Jamnik. And man, oh man, I'm not going to say that I'm excited tonight, although I'm excited tonight. I just did it, Lenny. I am honored. I am full of gratitude. Today is Gratitude Tuesday. Gratitude Tuesday. This movement inside our movement is actually inspired by my very good friend who's on the other side of the screen, Mr. Lenny Evens. He is our recipient of the Spirit of the ER Shred. You know, I did this post today and I thought it would be good to, what's up, Bonnie? As you guys come in, do me a favor, drop into the comments, say hello. We want this to be interactive. This call tonight, you know, I have a feeling that this call tonight is going to allow you to free yourself, in a way that, just like our health, I believe we all deserve. And this is something that Lenny and I have been working on for a while, but I shared something today about Gratitude Tuesday, and it's the movement inside the movement. And I said, you know, the ER Shred, Lenny, is hands down, in my opinion, after 20 years of studying this industry, of coaching people, but more importantly, of screwing it up, of messing it up on myself, of using myself as a human guinea pig. And what I've come to learn, my friend, and I think you have too, is that our failure, more so than any course we can take, more so than any book we can read, our failure in our life and our trials and our tribulations are really the best pieces of teaching advice that any of us can give. And to know that I can be in a place now, Lenny, a lot of it is going to have to do with this call that we're on tonight and what we're talking about. But to be in that place, to be able to share all my failures, where before I used to run from them, and to know the power that that can give to someone else is just so freaking amazing. It is so, like, I have goosebumps thinking about it. And this call tonight, guys, you know, our focus tonight is the ER Shred is hands down the best health protocol on the face of this planet. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I know it's a bold statement, but listen, if you don't know what I'm talking about, www.ershutters.com, go look at it yourself. Like, go look for yourself. And if you're not moved, I recommend you getting an EKG immediately and figure out where your heartbeat is, because I don't know what's going on. But with that being said, I think that, you know, it's so cool. I did this post and I was like, the ER Shred is the best health protocol. However, it's so much more than that. Like, if you're just looking at this as a health protocol, I'm sorry, you're missing the boat. This is so deep. It's so deep. It's the empowerment aspect. We've been talking about it for a year, but man, oh man, do we have more and more proof of it. But I still think there's more to go, Lenny. And you know, I told you, Lenny, for people that don't know, you are literally one of my greatest mentors. I think we exchange that. We say that to each other, and I mean that from my heart. The things that we've been able to go through, it's crazy how, to me, they're different, but yet they're exactly the same. And we're able to heal together, and we're able to grow together. And this is the community. This is the community aspect. Like, I knew you, Lenny, but I never would have been best friends with you if it wasn't for us taking back control, you know, understanding the power that we can have with ourselves and how that can go into others. And man, I'll tell you, it's just the most beautiful thing. And tonight I'm hoping that we can help people get into that place, even though, right, Lenny, even though we're both still a disaster. I want to make sure that that's very clear to everybody. Lenny Evens and I are still an absolute wreck. Don't let this fool you. Don't let that glow of that light that he has fool you. Although it's the most beautiful thing, and I hope that we can kind of touch on that. So without further ado, Lenny, welcome back. You know, I looked earlier today, and you were on episode number 13.
Nice.
13, and now we're at episode number 54.
Nice. Well, hey, I want to come on here, and I'm going to introduce my my little chakra ball. And when you hear this, when I'm on from now on in the Shredder Nation, we take a deep breath. And then let it go. And ground yourself. You guys, you're on with Jesse Jamnik. Jesse James Jamnik, one of my heroes. He's one of my superheroes. He's somebody who I want to be like. Gosh, I feel so honored to be on here with you, brother. I really do. This whole movement has been such a blessing to me with Sean and Crystal and you and Bob and all the other people that I'm getting to know now on the board and everything. And it's so amazing. And I learn from you guys constantly. I'm always watching. I'm always taking notes. And what I want to say real quick is as we start this off, I just want to say that one of the words that's been coming up for me a lot is upside down. And what that means to me is mostly everything I was taught in my life turned out to be exactly upside down. It turned out to be exactly wrong. And whatever, like I want to flip things upside down. So what Jesse is probably the best in the world at, oh, so many things. But one of the things is turning the food pyramid upside down. That's what we've done. That's what we've done. Sean and Crystal and Jesse, they've turned that pyramid literally, you know the pyramid, right? I'm going to take it right here. Actually, this is made from shungite, but this is the food pyramid. And what Jesse and Sean and the whole movement have been able to do is simply turn it upside down on its head. We got to flip shit upside down. That's what we're about. That's what this movement's about. So I want to practice right now with something, because we flipped over the food pyramid. But one of the things that we do on Thursday nights, and I'm just going to say this about Thursday nights with Bob, it's awesome. We need to plug in more. We deserve to plug in more. Either you need the call or the call needs you, or both. That's still true, right?
Sure.
But what we've done, instead of trading time for hours and money and working and like coin operated, we've taken that business pyramid and we flipped it upside down to learn how to get true residual money. So we're flipping shit upside down constantly. So
it's shit upside down. You know, which is crazy, because my whole life in bodybuilding, I picked up shit, I put it down, and now I flip shit upside down.
That's right. And it's almost like this thing. I want everybody that's watching right now, and even if you're watching on the recording, make the best frown you can. Just make the best frown, right? Make a really good one.
I don't know how to frown.
And now flip it. Right? I mean, we're flipping shit. We're flipping everything. And so that's what I want to do today, is I want to talk about that with you in any way you want to do it. But we got to flip things around. We got to flip things around. Like we got to start understanding the reality, the way it really works. And we deserve to flip fear on its ass.
Yes, that's you are speaking my money language right now, my friend. You know, I want to share this, and you know, one of the things that I told Lenny, you know, Lenny and I talked yesterday, which I never do before a call. And I'll be honest with you, I don't have a game plan. I have a book that I want to reference, and I know you got some. And you know, I think the coolest thing, Lenny, is we call each other and we get in such this zen, and we get in these things that I just want to pretend like this is a phone call. Because I need people to hear what you're sharing with me. I need people to hear what you're teaching. And I also have this mission for this next year with the ER shred. You see, I look at this first year, you know, we say the ER shred is a tree, right? And we're the roots. And in order for a tree to become strong, those roots need to grow into the ground, and they need winds. They need, what's the word I'm looking for? They need stimulation, you know? And I think that this last year, we've cemented those roots. We've grown them deeper. We've had the haters and the naysayers and all of that. And that's like the wind to the tree. And what that did to us is it just made those roots stronger. It made the foundation stronger. You see, adversity is actually one of the most beautiful things. And if you were talking to Jesse 10 years ago, I would not be saying that to you. And now I welcome adversity and I welcome fear, because I've learned that it's the separation of two people. I am not my fear. I am not angry. I might feel angry, but I am not angry. And what Lenny and I are going to dive into tonight is a part of the onion and the layers that I want to rip back. And over this next year, I've asked Lenny to come on and share more of his gifts, because I want to keep adding more value. I don't even think we're close to scratching the surface yet with the amount of talent we have in our group, with the quality people we have. I think that there's so many people, Lenny, that hold themselves back. And this can be from hitting weight loss goals. This is part of relationships. This is part of growing as a human. This is being a better adult. I mean, it can relate to so many things. And one of the most crippling things that I have watched kill more dreams, including my own, but not anymore, is fear. Is fear. And it's crazy. And I want to peel that back, because fear is so multi-dimensional, as you know. Yeah. So go ahead. Would you have something on your brain? I can feel it coming from you.
Well, no, I just want to talk about this. This is for all of us. And where does that stem from? You guys, as early in our earliest memories and things that we don't remember, we were rejected. We were frightened. Someone raised their voice. These things went inside. And so there's these triggers that happen during our day. All of us have them.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But what we want to unpack is how to get rid of those. Like literally, one of the things that the book I'm going to bring up and I'm going to talk about tonight a little bit, and I've done a couple of Facebook Lives on it. It's called The Untethered Soul. And we want to thank our very own Crystal Escobar for inspiring me to read this book. Yep. And I just finished it. And the bottom line is, we have these fears, and what Michael Singer is teaching me, and you just said it, you taught it to me before I even brought it up to you yesterday in our call. We are not our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. We have thoughts. Okay, so remember, we're down here on this earth. We got some cool gifts. We got a body. Woohoo! That's the ER Shred, baby. That we're going to talk about. I don't know what we're going to talk about that exactly, but all I want to say about the body, the physical body, is pretend you got a physical body. You take the physical body, you add ER Shred, you got a better human. Human plus ER Shred, better human. Period. Okay, that's the physical body, right? So we got this, but we also got a mind. And for the longest time, I thought I was my mind. I couldn't differentiate between my mind and not my mind. And so anyway, we have these two gifts. We have a mind and we have a body. Now the body's really smart if we listen to it. And Jesse, you're one of the people most in touch with that, if anyone I've ever met, of how to make it work properly and push it to places I've never seen anyone push it to. It's amazing what you've shown us through that. Now, the mind is much more subtle, and we told it what we believed, and we told it what we wanted to see. We told it our model, our moms, our teachers, our dads. We were formed, and we got these belief systems. And guys, it's all a bunch of BS. It's just a belief system, and all we need to do is find out what happened along the way and figure out when it went in there. It triggers something, and it's in there still. And what Michael, without going into too much detail tonight, Jesse, what he says is those negative experiences made impressions on us. Yes. They're called samskaras, and they're in there, and they trigger when we feel fear about rejection or not being liked. And that's what we're going to talk about. All of us we all go through it until we're through it. And the only way to it is through it. And we got to figure out how to stop letting what people think about us stop us, and that causes fear, the fear of public speaking, things like that. So I want to talk about
I want to try to break some of this apart for people, because the one thing about Lenny and I is, you got to understand, we read the same books, we talk to the same people, where we've done thousands of hours of digging already and dealing with emotional pain and understanding these separations. And we're just throwing it out there. But real quick, Lenny, what is it like? I know you touched on it real quick, but what does it mean that we are not our thoughts? That's wait a minute, hold on a second. What do you mean I'm not my thoughts? My brain's thinking it. what do you mean I'm not my thoughts? Like, because I know what you mean by that, right? But like for somebody looking at that, that's having all these things. A lot of people have negative thoughts every day. There's bad negative self-talk. There's negative talk coming from the world. If you unfortunately watch the news, you're just getting pounded with that crap every day. Like, what does it mean exactly that, we're two different things, our body and our thought? Like, how's that not connected, so to speak?
Yeah, you know what? I'm learning this along with you, and my current.
Well, what have you learned? Not that you have, again, guys, we
Yeah.
don't have all the answers for you. I need you to know that. So when I'm asking Lenny, like, these are conversations that Lenny and I will talk through together. And from that stems magical things. And we have these freaking aha moments. And I want you to have those with us. That's really what this is coming down to, Lenny. Not that you're like the magical guru.
No.
I get it. But like, what have we learned through all these books and these things? Like, share some of that, if you will.
Yeah, so it's almost like think of this for a second, say look at your thumbnail. Look at your thumbnail and just say to yourself out loud, I'm not my thumbnail. I have a thumbnail. I'm not my thumbnail. That's a starting place. I'm not my wrist. I have a wrist. I'm not my butt. I have a butt.
Sure.
I'm not my six pack. I have, whatever all that is.
Yes.
We are not our bodies. And so remember that the person that was looking in the mirror when you were 5 years old and you were looking in the mirror, that same exact essence that what we're about to talk about is still looking through those eyes in the mirror. I'm now 58. Okay. So I'm not my body. So same way, I'm not my mind. I'm not my mind. I have a mind. It's a thinking machine. And anytime it's thinking, it's probably up to no good. That's what Michael Singer says. If you're off thinking, you're probably almost always trying to mold the world into your way of being protected and safe. So your thinking is not really that safe. We're going to get to that. So you're not your mind. So what he says is you can take your seat. You can take your seat. And so what that means, I'm going to talk about this later, but you can take your seat of your soul, the seat of your witness, the seat of your consciousness. He says it's just behind you. And you can kind of become aware. Awareness is the first step always of everything. Become aware that you're thinking thoughts, and you're like, oh, isn't that interesting? You become aware that you're thinking the thought, you're having the feeling, you're not the thought, you're not the feeling. And by the way, any experience, good or bad, you've ever had, you're not that experience either. You are what you are right now, and it's brand new. That's why the Shred movement's so exciting, because we get to all be so brand new together. In thoughts.
That is some deep shit right there. I just want to pause. I want to pause. And I just want people to be able to take it in. Because it's so understanding this real, at first this sounds woohoo. I totally get it. Get it. At first I was like, oh, this is some woohoo shit right here. And again, what I've learned was that actually was never my belief. That was a belief that I was taught. That was a belief that I learned from someone else. And when I learned to let that go and realize that the only belief that mattered was what I was getting and what I was feeling and what I was taking from it, that was it right there. It's crazy. One of the books that I'm reading that I share with you is How to Think Like a Monk, or Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. Absolutely amazing book. There are so many, like I'm like you, I highlight everything. So like I can go through and pull out like the best, juiciest stuff ever. And one of the things you said, I want to read to somebody. It's a very powerful, simple saying, but it says, remember, saying whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, is not freedom. Real freedom is not feeling the need to say these things at all. And that's even this talk to yourself. That's the talk to yourself. We get these things mixed up, right? Freedom in America and so on and so forth. But we're talking about a little bit deeper stuff. You know what I mean? Freedom of speech. Everybody, this is my freedom of speech. And I'm like, well, are you really free if you get to say whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want? Or are you more free by not even allowing those types of thoughts or processes to even exist in that protected space that I now protect with like a 20-pound sledgehammer?
Well, let's dive into this a little bit, because what
Please.
happens is when we feel a fear, Jesse, when we feel that fear, any kind of fear, it's a trigger, and we feel triggered. Let's start using that word, because I want to say this to everybody right now. By the end of this call, by the end of this interview, with this Zoom, this conversation that Jesse and I are having, you're gonna understand that the bigger the trigger, the bigger the release, the bigger the gift, because you're never gonna have to deal with it again. It's a simple technique where you can deal with fear. We both are master. Here's the thing. Everybody was first at before anyone's a master, you're a disaster. Now that goes in every single area. There's all these areas: financial, relationships. There's physical. Oh my gosh, there's spiritual. There's so many areas, right? So maybe we're all working on. All of us are disasters in some area, right? But I want to honor you for becoming a master in certain areas as well, because you certainly have. And you have had to face some serious fears, running up mountains. You've been super cold, been dark. It's been, I don't even know, dude, that sometimes has to be some of the things that are so scary. How do you deal with like fear in a moment and get through it? How do you do that?
Okay. I think it's two parts actually to this question. So the crazy thing with the things that you just brought up and mentioned, while that may be fearful to a person that's never done it or whatever, I've now put myself through so much of the regimen and the training and the practice over and over again that it's not necessarily fearful anymore. So I think the more that we can dive into things and put ourselves in uncomfortable situations and learn that we're not going to die from it, we're not going to be paralyzed. You know what I mean? Like, is there a possibility of that? Sure. But there's also a possibility of that if I walk out my front door. You know what I mean? So, the more that we do certain things, I think, I'm more fearful still today, even though I feel like I've got so much better control, is the thought of what someone else perceives me to be. And that stems back from my childhood of growing up the little fat kid, of never feeling wanted, of, losing the relationship with loved ones and friends that I thought were friends, and, so many different things along the way. So does that?
Yeah. This is so good. So at the bottom of anything like anger or jealousy or envy, or anytime we're in judgment of another human, like we're judging them, anytime anything like that is coming up, and we can all do those self-evaluations and see what we want to get rid of and replace it with like love and integrity and things like that, right? But all of those those things all come back to fear. So that's the ultimate trigger that Michael Singer says it got in there when somebody made fun of you, Jesse, when you were little, when you were, heavy, when you were a little boy, and they're like, Jesse is the fat boy, Jesse is the fat boy. And that hit you when you were 7, and that still gets triggered every once in a while. So I don't know if that gets triggered or not. But what I'm saying is Michael Singer says, oh, you bet your ass it does, until you learn how to relax and release it. And that's what I want to dive into a little bit, because we're all going to be triggered during the day. Somebody cuts us off. Can you let it go? Can you just experience it? Or you're going to let it mess you up for a while. It's always a personal decision, but that anger stems from some kind of fear that somebody took advantage of you when you were little, or or somebody got your girlfriend when you were 12 or 13 or 15, whenever you start dating. I don't know, but there's so much to unpack. But these little fears mess with us, and that's what keeps us oftentimes from wanting to share things with people, because we fear rejection. It's one of the worst fears there is, because we're pack animals. Back to your ancestral living. That pack, we want to. If you got to get along with your pack, man. You can't start getting away from your pack. So you got to be liked. You got to be needed in that pack. And so it's something that this is so fun, because we're discovering this together.
It's actually amazing that you just brought that up. And I'll give people an example. Anybody, there's a lot of people that have dogs, for instance, right? If your dog was ever hurt, dog is, you are the master of the pack when you have an animal, right? And it's amazing if you actually tap into, we always talk about tapping into nature. One of the biggest things, Lenny, that's helped me with fear is actually tapping into more nature. And it sounds so crazy, but it's like, I don't think people understand the power, and you look at something like a dog, for instance. If a dog gets hurt, it's going to pretend it's not. It's the fear of not feeling wanted in that pack anymore, because in the wild, a wild animal who's hurt in a pack is typically left behind. You are only as strong as your weakest link. And in the survival of the fittest in the wild, it's a whole different world than the human kingdom. You know what I mean? It's some powerful stuff. So that's
something I'm going to quote Sean Escobar. I don't know if he says it like this or not, but I know you would say this too, but like, no one's getting left behind in this pack. No one. So we've got to overcome this. we've got to overcome this, this wrong program where we don't ask for help when we need help. That's the number one thing that makes a true leader, is when we ask for help. Because if you don't ask for it, if you voice it out loud, man, someone can help you with it. Someone's already been there.
Why do you think it's so hard to ask for help? Because
I think, well, you just explained it in that pack situation. We're not supposed to ask for help. If we ask for help, we're gonna get left behind. Oh, hey, Jesse told me he's got a torn ligament. Oh shit, we better leave him. Like, we're gonna have to drag his ass. He's pure muscle. I don't want to carry his ass. So, like, probably that, really. I mean,
yeah,
I don't even know. It's probably family dynamics too, but go ahead. What were you going to say besides that?
No, that was honestly the thing. And then I kind of want to go into, okay, so we start to identify these things, when we work on this. And guys, understand, we're trying to give you the scope. I mean, we have so much more to dive into, because this is really packed stuff here that takes a long time. So we can identify these things and realize that, really, Susan, I put a quote up on Susan. Deepak Chopra, for sure, dives into this stuff so well. Susan put, it's the silent witness, right? And when all that chatter is going on in the head, all that self-talk, all that chatter, who's actually listening? Who's listening? And if you're honest, you're the only one that's listening. You know what I mean? Like, you are the only one that's listening. And you start to identify this stuff, and you can say, okay, well, I know I fear, whatever. I can identify certain things. And again, these will take exercises and practices that you guys can do. There's a lot of them in this book that I highly recommend that you do. And I think the next step, so we can identify this fear, we realize our thoughts are not who we are. How do we bridge and kind of move into becoming better? I know for me, you said, do those things trigger you? They trigger me in a way, but not anything close to like how they used to, because I learned to practice forgiveness. And the person I had to forgive the most was me. And realize that while other people did harm and while things happened, I've probably done the most damage to myself, unknowing. But once I knew, I had to address, and in this book, it talks about some things like transformational forgiveness, which is really, really powerful, right? Forgiving someone or something, no matter what that is that happened. And there's some really bad things that happen to people. And, Sean has put his stuff out there. We can use our leader as an example, right? Sean, was molested as a kid, and he just dealt with this as an adult. And the forgiveness that man showed, even though it was painful and hurtful, he forgave without expecting anything back. My friends, if you can come to a place of forgiveness without having to expect something back in return, wow. You want to talk about the most freeing thing ever? Have you had to go through any of this, Lenny? And I know in some of your teachings and learnings, you've the power of this. Once we've identified this fear, most of fear, what I've come to realize, is based off of the perception of what we think someone else is going to think or say or do, right? It's not so much the fear of actually doing a certain task, but it's the fear of the repercussion of what is going to happen, right? And kind of coming to this place. So there's all sorts of different forgiveness. And the people that have obviously had really bad things done to them, to get to that place is something that we can work towards to help eliminate fear as well. What do you think?
Oh, bro, gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up. Forgiveness is one of the great keys. I think it's one of the main reasons we're here, it's how we view those that mistreat us oftentimes, it's and forgiving. And then once we've forgiven everyone we can think of, I'd like to do a whole nother episode on forgiveness, because I have this whole forgiveness prayer that you plug in the person's name and you've got to come up with the whole list. And anyone who's ever offended you, you've got to rack your brain, make the list of anyone that's ever offended you in any way. And then you forgive everyone. And then once you've forgiven everyone, you have the teaching is that then you ask for forgiveness for yourself. And oh God, 2019 and 2020 were my years of forgiveness, brother. So man, we're coming from the same place, we really are. And there's no doubt about that. So
I'm gonna be real, people too. As much as I, people are always like, oh man, it seems like you got it all together. I'm like, listen.
Hey, I want to say something real quick about nature. You issued a challenge to all of us, and
yes,
and I've been doing it. I do it. It's part of my daily practice, no matter what. But on Tuesdays, especially, maybe even everybody doing a live about and calling it Gratitude Tuesday video, and going live and just saying one thing you're grateful for. And I know that sounds scary, but it's a start. And once you start, and we're going to talk about deciding to face fears more. At the end of this call, that's the big challenge, right? And so, but what that means is maybe, gratitude, and that's just, and if you can't get out, if it's cold where you live, I get it, bring stuff home. Like I bring stuff home, my rocks, every time. And, even like my big oak trees are falling right now, and holding onto them inside even raises your vibration. And all I want to say about that is the reason Jesse wants you to do it so much, and I do too, I'm asking you as the spirit of ER Shred. I'm charging you. I'm charging you along with Jesse. Sean charged me. I'm charging you. When you get out in nature every day, and even if, you want to put bare feet like Jesse and I right now, right, Jess?
That's right.
You can put your feet on. I have a wood table. I have rocks. I can still be grounding inside because it's freezing outside right now where I live. But just be able to get out there, because nature is always vibrating at the highest level, on the highest scale. And so no matter where you are, it will raise you up and you will feel better. And that is a guarantee. And that's why Jesse, I know, we all want our shredders to be happier, right? And so grounding it's called earthing or grounding. That does it. That really does it. So I didn't want to go off too far. You talked about it.
No, you're fine. You're good, Lenny. You're good. I'm going to address one comment though. Bonnie just said too many people on my list to forgive, but I actually let them go and started living.
I want to show her. I want to show her my list. Dear God, I thought when I got to 70, I thought, whoa, I'm way too many. And then I started doing the work, and it takes about, maybe 30 seconds to a minute to do each prayer sincerely, and let that person go. And I'm well over 100. And every time, if I ever think I missed somebody in my daily meditation, and the way is when you close your eyes and go into meditation and you see that person, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing that you don't need to necessarily hug, but there's no angst. There's no bad feelings. When you can go in your visualization and see that person and there's nothing wrong, that worked. You forgave them. And so there's never too many.
That's like the level of sattva. Yeah, sattva, which is the elevation of transformational forgiveness, to where you've not only forgiven that person with not wanting anything back, but also, hear this, Lenny, also wishing that person the best, wishing that person well.
Yeah, no question. That's
Yeah. What you're describing, you know what I mean, is
yeah.
That's the elevation of transformational forgiveness that we can get to, is sattva. They call it in learning the monk way, right? Is forgiving that and also wishing that person nothing but the best.
100%.
I'm working on that with my ex-wife.
Yeah, sure. Me too. With my ex-wife. And you know what? Every day better. You know, that's the truth. So let's go here. The forgiveness is a very important theme that I want to dive into another time. I think maybe another.
No, let's get. You want to go fear?
What I want to go fear. I want to teach this technique about what happens, what you do when you feel a fear. Okay.
Because can I share a quick quote by Buddha first, real quick?
Yeah. Oh God.
Okay, here it is. Real simple. Fear does not prevent death. It prevents life. Fear does not prevent death. It prevents life.
You think about it, Jesse, for a second. Think about that we're on this gorgeous Mother Earth, this globe, and it's spinning, and we're flying through space following a burning star that we can feel during the day, and then we get cold at night because we can't. And that's all happening, and we're worried, we're fearful about what our neighbor thinks about us. Oh my God.
When you put that in that perspective to me the other day, and it was crazy to me because Lenny has this way of like telling me things that I literally just went through. It's like, so like, I believe it's the universe just connecting us in the way that it should. I really do believe that in this day and age, but it's just nuts how it happens. And it's like, it's just cuckoo. I forgot my point that I was going to say anyways, but go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean, and that's what basically, I mean, guys, let's lighten up. What do Sean and Crystal and Jesse and Bob and everyone, what are they saying for 2022? Fun, lighten up, fun, lighten up, laugh at yourself.
A better you in 2022. A better you.
Yeah, and a lighter simple, you. Huh? Okay, let's say this too, a lighter, because you know we lose fat, gain muscle, whatever, but we lose all this fear. It's a real thing, you guys. It's a trigger inside our heart, and I when you're ready, I want to dive into that a little bit because I just simple little thing. Okay, so write this down if you're taking notes. This again comes from the Untethered Soul, and the next book I'm about to read is the Surrender Experiment from him. So he's only got 2 books, you know, these are them. But what I want to talk about is he taught me a technique, and I've been using it, you guys, every single day. It's called R&R, relax and release. Relax and release. And here's what happens when you start to feel anxiety, when you start to feel the fear, when you start to feel the stress, when you start to feel the anger, the rage, if somebody cuts you off, how dare they, you know, whatever that is, you know, I don't like, everybody has different things, you know, but when you start to feel it, that's when Michael Singer says, it's R&R, baby. You know how we love simplicity around here? Simplicity is the gift of the ages, you guys. And that's what's so beautiful about art. We want to keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it so simple. So sweetie. Right. So what's important about this relax and release is all you have to do as soon as you start becoming aware that you're having the fear and you're mad or you're upset, you're triggered. Remember, a little trigger, a little release, a big trigger, a big release. Who wants a big release? You guys, just the word release. It's like when you breathe in and then watch this exhale. This is a release. That's a release. Right. And so we relax and we release. So whatever's coming up, that trigger, we can relax. And what he says to do is your shoulders go back, right? So you get behind, you breathe in, you relax, and then you release it. You can actually feel it coming out. You can actually release it. You could cry. If it's a big one and you're by yourself, or even if you're with people, it might cause some water to emote out of your tear ducts up there. It's just a thing, because things went in with pain, they got to come out with pain. That's where the adage in the physical world, no pain, no gain, is true. It's true here too, but it's more than just one gain. Remember, when you're willing to feel that fear, that stress, that anger, and breathe it in and back up and witness yourself releasing it, it's gone forever.
Yeah.
One last time. And it frees up energy for enthusiasm and passion. And also your mind doesn't have to think about it anymore, and you have more time to be in the present moment. That's more advanced, because you have to read the whole book for that, for a lot of this stuff, right? But not the R&R. The R&R is every time you're driving your car, you breathe in, you relax, and you release, and you let it go. You let that thing go. There's a lot of things stored in there. There's a lot of impressions that were made that are sucking our energy up in our systems, in our mind. That we have a mind. Remember, it's a thought machine. It's a thinker of thoughts. That's what it is. The brain is a thinker of thoughts. We told it how to protect us years ago. It's just doing its job. We go out of it. It goes, hey. That's why people want to talk so much, is they want people to agree with them. We have to be willing to turn our own beliefs upside down. Every one of them that doesn't serve us. And that's how we start to get rid of them. We start to be able to realize that the reality that's happening right now, this creation that was created by a creator. I know everybody's different on what they believe about that. Some people call it God, universe, source. Let's just call it creator for right now. This creation that's been happening for a few billion years, it's happening right now, and there's nothing you and I can do to change it. We have to accept it. Okay? We have to accept it, become, happy with it, because you can either argue with reality or you can accept reality. There's only two choices. You argue, you're going to be a victim, you're going to be sad, you're going to be mad all the time, right? But if you start to accept it, now we can have some magic start to happen, because we're not wasting time trying to argue with reality anymore. That's what Michael Singer taught me. So relax and release every time you start to have that feeling, until you can start to smile. Now, there's a scientific study about smiling that changes your very own physiology. It's a fact. It's revolutionarily contagious when you smile. And when you smile to yourself, after you've let this all go and you felt it, you feel the pain go, you relax, you release through that exhale, and then you start to smile, and then you're back. And in that vibration, you're going to get through this. You're going to get through a fear. You're going to get through, doing the 11-day ER shred, where there's a moment where you're like, shit, I don't know, man. I'm hungry, dude. I don't know if I can do this, and then you're going to hear Jesse, suck it up, Buttercup, have another bone broth. And you're going to hear Sean and Jesse in harmony saying, suck it up, Buttercup, have another bone broth. And you're going to make it, right? But the thing is, we gotta get there. And that's how we gotta sometimes relax and release that impression and get rid of it, you guys. That's what this is about. Dude. That's how we start to face our fears, everyday triggers.
Oh my God. This is so crazy. When Lenny and I talked yesterday, we were talking about all this type of stuff. And I go, bro, you'll never believe this. I got off a plane yesterday. I flew back from Rhode Island to Charlotte, and the stuff that I was diving into on my flight was literally like releasing fear, how to deal with fears, all this kind of stuff. And this is what I mean by like the universe just puts Lenny and I together. So with what Lenny's sharing with you, I feel like Michael Singer and Jay Shetty are like best friends. I swear to you, they are. It's just in their own words. But I want to try to like use him to help you guys break apart what Lenny just said, because this really helps. Check this out. The cause of fear, attachment. The cure for fear, detachment. R&R. R&R. Attachment, you're attached to the feeling, the emotion, the thought, the saying, the whatever. You're attached to that in some way, right? We have this feeling behind it, but we're really not that emotion. And then it goes and it says, when we track fears back to their source, most of us find that they're closely related to attachment. our need to own and control things, control the situation, control what people are going to say, control how we're going to feel, whatever that thing is, right? We can learn to shift our fear to a roaring sense of freedom by using techniques like R&R, understanding attachment versus detachment, and all of those beautiful things. They told us that useful fear alerts us to situations that we can change, right? It's not possible to control all the external events, but if you simply learn to control your mind, what need is there to control other things? Guys, think about that. Like, really let that set in for a second. Detachment, my friends, is the ultimate practice in minimizing fear. Detachment, right? When you panic, what Lenny was just talking about, when you're panicked, and you can learn to use these powerful techniques because it will literally change your vibrational energy. It will change your inner health. It will change your overall well-being. I mean, this is how powerful this stuff is. This is really how powerful this stuff is. It's like when you panic, you start to anticipate outcomes that have not even happened yet. They're not even happened yet, right? So when we anticipate those future outcomes, Jay says, fear holds back, imprisoning us in our imaginations. Our fears become more numerous than our dangers, and we suffer more in our imagination than in our reality.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. This is so amazing that like it's the same message, and I live by this one adage one of my mentors taught me a long time ago, because I've done some pretty scary shit in my life. Like, I could talk about some of it, but like he said that danger is real, fear is a liar. Danger is real. And so danger is real. Like, you got to be aware of danger, right? But fear, that is a liar every single time. Fear. Okay. And so it's just always that fear is always trying to keep our model of the world that we structured ourselves intact. And if we ever vary from it, we go, whoa, that's scary. And that's why we're afraid. And
that's ancestral, Lenny. That's ancestral.
Yeah.
It's fight or flight. Like, the only difference is there's not a saber-toothed tiger chasing us, actually trying to kill us today.
That's right. That's exactly right, dude.
But it's the same exact emotion. And like, the human body has not changed. Like, we have not changed. Right?
Yeah. I mean, and there's some stuff that's pretty trippy. Like, I remember I've been to a lot of personal growth seminars. I went to Tony Robbins' UPW, Unleash the Power Within. And one of the things you do there is you actually walk on fire with bare feet. And, it scared the shit out of me. And I have had to learn these techniques to get through some of this stuff. And I've broken arrows on my neck. I've had rebars shoved in my neck and bent it. With David Wood on stage in front of 10,000 people, like crazy shit sometimes, and where I'm crying in fear. And it was always that breath, almost unintentional. I think that was always helping me. But now, you guys, intentional breathing, like doing this, really breathing it back, bringing your shoulders up and back, and really relaxing, learning the art of relaxation. I want to do a whole nother thing on it. I did a live. I've done 3 lives on the Untethered Soul on my personal page. So for further information on that, please watch those, because, at some other point, we'll be diving into more and more of this. But, there are big fears and there are little fears, and so like maybe a big fear is jumping out of an airplane. Maybe that's a big fear for people. And you'd have to learn techniques to get over that. I was so afraid to fly. Okay. I was such a control freak my whole life. I'm just going to tell the story real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a bad experience flying, and it really scared the shit out of me a long time ago, like in the late 80s. So I decided I'm never flying again. And then the World Tower hit, 9/11 hit. And I was like, oh yeah, see, that's why. And I was like, done. And then I found isogenics in 2004. Hell no. I drove from California to Canada. I drove to Kansas City. I drove to Denver. I drove to Texas. I drove almost, in my lifetime, I've driven over 3 million miles. Why? I had to drive. because I was a freaking control freak.
Yeah.
So having said that, I've overcome my fear of flying mainly through breathing techniques, and it works every time. And I'm telling you, it is something that works, big or small fear. So let's start small, and let's make a decision to start facing some of these. Now, I do want to roll into something else just for a minute, because December is coming up.
Go.
Can I jump into this for a second?
Go.
So I really like the idea of us introducing, like, for the month of December, to make a decision. Now, you hear Jesse talk about insecticide, fungicide, and pesticide, and all these sides, right? And what does CIDE, side, stand for? Like suicide, homicide?
Death.
It means death, right? Death. So what we want to do is decide. And that means put to death all the other reasons and excuses, why you're not willing to make some decisions about your life right now. And number one, we talked about this last Thursday, and Sean taught me this, really, that the first decision we make, and the decision we make every day, is to be our own hero. We decide. So in December, I like to call it Decide-ember. Like,
Decide-ember.
They're going to make a decision, right? Decide. You're going to decide to become your own hero by doing a shred. You're going to decide, maybe, if you're ready, to become a superhero by paying it forward. My specialty, I think, why I'm here now, is because I want to decide to help everybody and go along with you to face more fears. I want to decide to face more fears together, like doing a Facebook Live every Tuesday, because Jesse and Lenny asked you to do a live where you go on there and go, my mentor told me, I even mentioned you on my live today. I don't know if you watch it. I don't get around to watching everybody's stuff because there's so much going on in the world. But I'm like, man, I was so inspired. I was lit up by Jesse James Jamnik when I was on a coaching call with him. And that's what this is about, us being inspired by each other and inspiring each other, to do things like that. So decide to face those fears and learn and accept and decide that every time you feel one of those little fears come up, you're going to kick its ass, and you're going to relax and release it so you can just get on the other side of it. Life is about getting on the other side of things. If you're ever codependent, it's about getting on the other side of codependency. If you haven't managed your money, it's about getting on the other side of managing your money. If you whatever it is, we got to get on the other side of these things, right? And so we got everything with the shred. We got this community that loves us and supports us. Jesse, it's like a dream come true in our community,
For sure. I totally agree. And it's crazy because you're right. There's these different layers, there's different fears, and we'll start to learn how to control them and do them and dive into them. And I would challenge people to not, to identify that fear, whatever that may be, and not run from that fear, but instead go live in that fear. Stop being scared of the adversity. Stop being scared of, the situations that haven't even happened yet. Stop allowing those stories to, transpire. Decide that you're worth it. Decide that you can do it. It all starts with that. So I love that, Lenny. I love that whole, go ahead.
Well, one of the teachings that I've lived by for a long time is by Joseph Campbell, and he said that the cave you fear the most is the cave you must enter.
Must.
And so, what does that mean? Well, it means that fear, those little fears and big fears that we've been running away from our whole lives, that which you literally, this is so true. I've never understood it like I finally do now at the 58 ripe young years of 58, that which you resist persists with a vengeance. And it's never going away until you are willing to feel that pain one more time and release it. Rumi, one of my favorite poets, I don't really understand him that well, but he said something that I never did understand until finally reading Michael Singer, and it's that the pain is the cure. So if you're willing to face that pain, that fear one more time and relax it, inhale it, let it go in that exhale and release it, you're going to be freed up. Every time you choose to take the higher road, you get back in your seat, you get behind yourself, you get higher and higher, and you can see like, oh my God, that's so funny. That guy cut me off. I bet his mom is in the hospital. For sure his mom. I hope everybody's okay, because that guy's really going fast to cut in front of me like that. I hope, like that's a different level than that's, how close can I get on his bumper? I wonder, like that's a whole nother level. We don't need that anymore. We can breathe into it. And driving's especially easy because on the steering wheel, you can push yourself back. I want you to always imagine pushing yourself back in the seat, and relaxing and releasing. At another time, I'm going to teach this 7-minute meditation where all you do is relax and release the whole time. And it's really cool. There's a lot of things we're gonna dive into, but this whole decision-making process, guys, to decide that you're never going to give up, to decide to become a hero, decide to become a superhero. I mean, these are decisions you have to make on your own, but to decide to start facing more fears, God, it just, I'm so excited to be on this journey with you guys, because I have a lot of fear still. I have a lot of control. I mean, I've been knocking them off one at a time, man. I'm so glad I'm still here, because I'm still knocking them off, these fears one by one. And I'm digging this, Jesse. I'm digging learning this with you and Sean and Bob and Crystal and everybody. It's amazing.
It's just so fascinating. It's like health. I think we all deserve this, because it just, you start to do these things, and just like when you start to get, healthy from the inside out, I've preached that it has the ability to drastically alter everything in your life, everything. And we've had so many examples of that now. If you think that's powerful, take that level now and bring it into this. And when you can start to practice these things and learn how to release and identify and, go through the motions that we've been talking about, the level of freedom and the way that it takes what you already think. Remember, you were at a place in life where you're like, holy crap, like I didn't even know that could be so good, because you didn't know it could be so good. I want to challenge you even more with more intention, because I guarantee you that if you can get through these concepts and start to understand these, you're going to look back and go, wow, I thought that I was actually a much better than I was, but now I didn't even realize how much more better it could get. It's mind blowing. It's just another level of vibing at a place where I think we all deserve to be. I really do, that having that intention of living in just pure bliss and freedom. It's just so cool. And it's the hardest thing to do too, at the same time, guys. Like understand this is challenging work we're presenting you with, but we're doing it for a reason, because we're both worked so long on it now, and yet still have so much more to go. But each time that I can peel back another layer of the dead onion, the rotten, smelly, nasty stuff that doesn't belong anymore, and I can get to the core of what it means and what it really is supposed to be, which is just me as me. It's so freaking awesome. It's just so awesome. Like I wish that for everybody. I truly do.
Oh, I love it, bro. I want to quote this idea that once we decide, once we make that decision, we become really educators, about life, and I want to read this right here. It's like, it says, leadership is an education, and the best leaders think of themselves as the students, not the teachers. And that's our family. That's our tribe. That's Sean and Crystal. That's you. That's what I hope we all are, that we come to this as the students, and really take advantage of these things. I believe that as we can learn how to really untether our soul and really become a shredder, we found our tribe. Now with that power, we can really make some different, make a big difference in our own life, and and deal with this. You know, it's when you learn how the art of relaxing and releasing, and that I want to, again, more and more episodes on this
Yep.
technique. That art will lead to the energy that I'm referring to is passion. It's enthusiasm. It's that spark of that you're excited about what you're doing in life. That's that. When you start letting this all go and you're willing to deal with it and let it go, you're getting passion going on, and your mind can let go of trying to ever protect you from that particular one again. So that's how you become more clear and more available for listening to people and being in the present moment. I'm telling you that our Shredder Nation, we got some secret sauce, don't we, man? We got it all.
For sure. Yeah. I love it. I love that we can do this. I love that we can bring this to the community. I think, you know, if people go, you know, don't get it mixed up. It's still the best damn health protocol ever. However, when you start to understand what ultimate health is, you start to understand its mind, its body, its connection, it's a level of different vibration. Holistic health is the circle of life, my friends. And that's not just in what we put in our mouth, although that is the foundation that I believe we all need to help us elevate and build the structure that we're looking to build, which is the framework, which is where I think we are now actually in the ER Shred. That's how I look at this, is we've laid this rock solid concrete foundation, and now the framing is going up, and the roofs and the pitches and the ceilings and the vaults and all the stuff that makes it what it is. And all of this type of work, you know, we'll keep bringing this to it. But Lenny, you know, we want to make sure we've already blown through an hour. Seriously, right? So we put out a lot. I want to challenge people to go back and listen again, especially if you feel that you're struggling. I want to challenge you to get the book, Untethered Soul. I want to challenge you to get the book, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. And there's another one that I want to share that Lenny shared with me, that if you struggle with relationships at all, which is a huge motivator of fear, you want to get a book called Attached. Right, Lenny? There it is, Attached. And that book right there is going to help you start to work on those fears and your sense of attachment, and you're giving up yourself, right, Lenny? You're giving up you because of the attachment you have to someone else. And some of that crap's hard. Some of that could be your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your best friend, so to speak, right? But I want to put that out there for people, and I want to leave it to you before I can promote the rest of the weekend stuff and tell people what's going up. Close this out. What can we give to people to guide them along and give them a little more? What do you feel coming from you that you
know? For me, you know, I just want to say that I like this quote: "When we are closed to ideas, what we hear is criticism. When we are open to criticism, what we get is advice." For us to be open, you know, just let's not think we know anything. Let's keep on like becoming like Zen mind, beginner mind. That's another book, but like becoming, like pretending you're doing it for the first time, like not getting stuck in a rut and thinking you know something. You know, the worst words I think that one of my mentors a long time ago said that he's ever heard in his life was when he hears a human say, "Oh yeah, I know that." What? I don't know that I know even 50% of any topic ever, you know? And so even that, God, maybe 10%. I don't even know. Like I don't even know. So being open and being and our leaders, you know, you are so open. Sean is so open. Crystal's so open. Our leaders are open. Bob's open. And I wanna just say, let's all emulate that, you know, and really not be closed, but be open to new things and new ideas. And I really believe that awareness is always the first step to transformation. awareness, right? And so we're helping you become aware that there's something you can do when you feel fear and feel triggered. Oh my God, there's something you can do. You're aware of that now? That gave me great hope. That gives me great hope. You know, when you want to fix your body, you're aware that you have something that can totally change someone's life. That's huge. That's power. Awareness is the first step. And so I'm just going to always come from that place of becoming aware and being open and humble, you know, and we're here to learn from you guys. I love this group. I love this tribe, and I'm just so grateful. So back to you, brother. More to come.
I just second all of that. I just second all of that. I mean, you shared something that literally just happened to me yesterday, and it was the most beautiful thing ever. And I can't thank you enough for it, you know, and it's just such, when you can get there, I really, truly from my soul, I wish the ultimate health to everybody, because I believe we deserve that. It's our greatest wealth. And I wish that people can feel the sense of Zen, as Lenny calls it. And that doesn't mean that life's perfect. It doesn't mean there's no stress. It doesn't mean that bad things don't happen. Like, no, it just means that you're in this different place, to where you're vibing at this different vibrational energy. And no matter what seems to happen, you have it, you know. And I look at a call like this, Lenny, as, you know, I say that our job is to build our tool belts. And, you know, we need to stack our toolboxes. But that doesn't mean that just because we have every tool in the toolbox, we need to use it at every situation. But if we don't have the tool, the job becomes a lot harder. And you just gave one of the best tools to put in a toolbox, that R&R, the art of breathing, of, you know, accepting and identifying, you know, realizing what I share with attachment to detachment. These are tools, guys. These are tools. These are not like magical answers. These are tools that you now have to take as the primal being and put them to work. A tool is only a tool, and it's only good unless you use it. So I want to challenge you, and I know Lenny wants to challenge you to, you know, stop making the excuses to hold yourself back. You know, identify that. That's a fear, actually. You know, you're fearful of something. Pull back those layers, pull back those onions, address that root cause, that root situation, so you can then grow from that and start to identify. So that's really kind of what I have. And with that, Lenny, I just want to say, you know, I love you like a brother, dude. I tell you this, but I'll tell you over and over again. I'm grateful. You know, it's Thanksgiving. I am grateful for our friendship. I'm grateful for the fact that we've connected. I'm grateful that we get to go on this journey together, of this unperfect perfect, right? You know, to me, it's perfect. I've learned that it's all perfect. Like, it's supposed to be. This is everything that's there is supposed to be. My job's to learn the tools to get to where we got to get to. And that's yours too. So, I'm just so grateful that you're here, dude. I'm grateful that you've, you know, I don't wish upon anybody what you've had to go through, but I'm so grateful that you've been strong enough, through all of it, to still be here today, to still show up today. And the main focus is, no matter what's happened to you, your only mission is to serve and bring that help to others. As you continue to pull back, you just keep giving and giving and giving. Like, you're my people. It took me 42 years to figure this out, but you're my freaking people. And there's a reason that you're in that very, very close circle, which I am so super protective of these days. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Oh man, thank you, brother. Right back at you, man. You are my people. I love you, bro.
Appreciate it. All right, guys, listen, tomorrow, they canceled the the Shred Your Testimonial call. I said, hell no. So we're going to have that call tomorrow, but we're going to flip it up a little bit. Now, listen, I understand that it's the day before Thanksgiving. I understand that you're serving the needs of others that want from you. But I want to challenge you to put a pause to all of that, because that's not your life is not all of the cooking. Your life is to give back to you. I know that there's a lot of fear around the holidays, especially when you're dieting, especially when you're going through nutritional stuff. I know there's a lot of fear. I want to share with you what I'm going to do for Thanksgiving. I've also been able to read amazing posts in our group of families that have transformed their Thanksgiving thought process to where they don't think that things serve them anymore. So if you can come on the call tomorrow, it's the same Zoom that we always use. I will be there. Our Shreducator, Heather Sika Leonard, will be there. I don't know who else will be there, but I welcome all of you to be there. I promise you, you deserve this time to hang out with your people. Your people have to come first. And that could be above family. That could be above things. And it's not that they don't matter. But if you don't go in with the right vibration, that right there is scary. That's going to be scary. So we want to share some tips and tricks. We want to share with you how to get through the holidays. We want to share with you all the mistakes that we made in learning. And I want to bring as many of you in as possible to tell me about your Thanksgiving, what you're grateful for. That's what I want this call to be. And maybe we'll dig a little bit and kind of figure out why you're thinking the way you're thinking from last Thanksgiving to now, so we can help other people that might not be in that same mindset currently, because they're still working from the process of where you started to where you are now. And it's our duty. It is our obligation to help those people to reach down and pull them up with us, so they don't have to go into the holidays fearful. They can go into the holidays what I believe the holidays should be, which is happy and connecting and building memories and creating all of that magical space. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. Join us. Our Zoom meeting is www.ershredders.com. It's right up in the top banner. You can't miss it. So I welcome all people. You don't even have to be in our Shredder group. Come on the call. Let us serve you. Let us give you some of this information. And then I can't tell you if Bob's having his call this week or not, because I'm not sure. So we'll have to wait on that one and see if it's going to. No, that's Thanksgiving. So we're definitely not having that call this week. So tomorrow is going to be our last one for the week. And then from there, we'll go into Thanksgiving. We'll celebrate Thanksgiving. We'll come back stronger, better than ever. And then we'll just keep rocking right through December, where we decide that we are worth everything. We are worth it all. All right, Lenny, I love you, brother. Have an amazing night. Thank you guys, all of you, for your time. We appreciate you. Tag some people that need to hear this information. Rewatch it again. We'll catch you on the flip side. Have a good night. Bye-bye.